Yeah,
How you doing, Mike?
good. How are you?
Good. I know we met through Chris. God, must have been about 3 years ago when you came down to the studio with him at New Alliance.
Yeah, that was
And
fun. It was a fun day.
yeah, definitely. And I know I ran into you somewhere else in another show, but I couldn't remember where that was. Were you at the Dean Jackson?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We
that's the
played
day.
there.
Yeah, Dean Jackson tribute show. Um, Getting introduced by Chris Doherty is not a bad way to meet somebody, by the way, because Chris and I have known each other since the 80s, and we were talking about you on the phone the other day, actually. Um, Before we talk about the new record that you have, Slave Drive's the name of it, right?
Slave driver.
Yeah, Slave Driver. Sorry. I want to get a little background on you for my listeners. Where are you from, Mike? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Boston and then the South Shore.
Were you born in Boston?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
Right by Fenway Park there. What's that house? Brigham and Women's.
So did you spend any time in Boston, or did you just grow up in the South Shore?
Hyde Park for 10, 11 years.
It's a tough neighborhood,
Yep.
or it was. I don't know how it is now, but
Yeah, it's still kind of one of the only places that's still the same.
oh
Every
yeah.
place else has changed in the city.
Did you come from a big family?
Yeah, sort of. The Irish side was big.
Did you have a lot of brothers and sisters?
No, just one brother.
What about school? You did you go to school in Hyde Park before you moved to the South Shore?
Yeah, I went to public school and private school, and then moved down to the South Shore.
Whereabouts?
Right around High Park.
Oh no, I mean where'd you move down to the South Shore?
Oh, down in Marshfield.
Marshfield,
Yep,
which I like to call Marsh Vegas.
yep. University of the
How was it going to school down there? That's more like suburbia, right?
Yep, exactly.
Did you
But you
like
got the
it?
beach. Yeah, you got the beach. 10 minutes from the beach. Can't go wrong.
Did you do a lot of surfing?
Yeah, I started surfing late teens, early 20s. Now it's more sporadic, but I'm up
But
in Quincy now, so
Quincy, you moved to the punk rock town where all the punk rockers are from, huh?
yeah.
Did you start listening to music when you were really young?
Yeah, I got into punk rock probably when I was like 13 years old.
Oh, you went straight to punk? Was there any classical before that, or is it straight to punk?
No, I listened to alternative music and heavy metal, then kind of went to the first punk show and I was hooked.
Before you tell me about that show, what do you remember any bands or records that you listened to when you were really young that caught your attention?
Showcase Showdown, Dark Buster.
Oh, so you were really into the Boston bands right away.
That's my introduction was going to those shows and seeing those bands. So,
So those are the first two bands that you saw when you went?
no, Showcase Showdown was Entropy, and then this band called Spitting Image. I don't know if they're still. I only saw them once or twice. I think they were a South Shore band. And then Toxic Narcotic, Johnny Earthquake. Those are some of the first shows. The Unseen. Um,
Yeah, but do you hate the Unseen? Just kidding.
doesn't everyone?
For you people that don't know what I meant by that, I'm referring to a Darkbuster song called I Hate the Unseen. Lenny was on the show. We talked about that. He doesn't really hate the Unseen, though. I didn't get that impression from him.
I
They were a good band, though.
think he opened up for him last time they
Yeah,
played.
right.
The
Um,
irony of it.
so did you listen to anything else besides punk rock?
Yeah, I mean, I listened to, the stuff you hear on the radio, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Ozzy, Tool, Black Sabbath.
So that whole Seattle sound got you in the metal stuff too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of was my introduction into punk, though, too. Because buying those records and seeing the flies, I'd find the bands like the Wipers and Black Flag, Dead Kennedys.
Wipers, that's a good one. Portland, Oregon band. I love the Wipers.
Oh,
Wow.
they're on.
Where'd you hear them on like college radio?
No, I think Nirvana covered one of their songs, so I looked them up and I found their whole catalog, and it's awesome.
Yeah, Greg Sage is a really interesting guy, man. He's out there. I get to work with them a little bit, and when I was at Enigma, we put a couple of Greg Sage solo records out and some Wiper records. He's
Oh wow.
quite a writer and a performer. When did you actually start playing
Um, Probably when I was about 13, 14.
guitar?
Yeah, I started playing guitar, and then I was starting to play in bands by 16.
Now you're fairly young, aren't you?
I turned 40 next year.
You look about 20, dude. You're keeping that youthful spirit going there for sure. Um, so when you started playing with their bands, I know that Worm goes way back to like 2005, I think, maybe even earlier. Were there other
Yeah.
bands before Worm?
Um, I played in like a band. I think we did a couple shows. I was just a singer, but it was more like alternative rock. And then I started my band Worm in 2003.
You've been doing it
Yeah.
for a long time, man. What about the lineup? What was the original lineup? Are any of those guys still around?
We started as a three-piece. Original drummer passed away uh 4 years ago. I do a benefit show for him every November for the this will be the fifth year. So, and the original bassist, he'll fill in here and there.
What do you got now? You got a new lineup now?
Yeah, we've had the same lineup now for I want to say 3 years. We That's the lineup on the new record. It's our original second guitar player when we went from a three-piece to a four-piece. He just moved back from LA probably about 3 years ago. We wrote a whole new record in about 6 months and then recorded it.
Nice. I've gone back and I've reviewed a bunch of stuff. You gave me some stuff when I saw you a few years ago. I think it was here, let me just check my notes here. I think it was American Catastrophe was my
Yeah.
first thing that I heard by you guys. Um, when you were getting this band together, like I hear a lot of like bands, like I hear Jerry's Kids and Gangrene and some of the faster stuff. Was that what you were going for when you started? Did you want to make it fast and more punk rather than more towards the hardcore side?
Yeah, I think we started more as a punk and then kind of as I got introduced more into hardcore, like listening to Jerry's Kids, Gangrene. We got to open up for the Freeze when we were real young, when they were still living around here. So I think the Freeze kind of got me into Boston, not LA, and then I found Jerry's Kids, Gangrene, Proletariat, all those bands.
Proletariat, good one.
Yeah.
Um, I was listening to, we're going to get, I don't want to jump ahead, but Life is Short. I don't want to die in a nuclear war. Totally reminded me of the freeze. I actually wrote that down in my notes. So I'm not surprised that you're saying that the freeze was an influence. Did you like the Land of the Lost record, their first record with American Town and all those tunes?
I got into the Freeze from Boston, not LA. Like I love all those songs.
Oh, even
And
before
yeah,
that. Okay.
then got into the Talking Bombs era with like Bill and all that is fucking, and then they put a new record out a few years ago, and then they're starting to play a lot more out west. So hopefully they'll end up back here.
So you get some pretty cool bands that you like were into early on, Jerry's Kids, Gangrene, The Freeze. Anyone you mentioned the Proletariat, they're a little different, but they're really cool. Were there any other bands that you were listening to that kind of influenced you in terms of your songwriting?
Well, my good friend Pete, who is the son of Pete from the Dogmatics, he let me borrow his dad's CD in I think eighth grade. So that's how I got into Dogmatics. I'd go to those shows. So that's kind of that sound and Unnatural Axe. We're playing with them We played with them a couple times before, but we're playing with them again at the end of the month
So
with the
you're a
FU.
you're a real product in of the Boston music scene. I can hear that in you. You're really influenced by all the Boston bands more than
Yeah,
anyone else, right?
going to those shows and seeing bands, and then the older bands that I wasn't around to see at that time, I got into and got to play with a lot of them. It's pretty much Boston punk rock, Boston hardcore.
Let's talk about your songwriting. Do you always write together with other people, or do you ever write songs alone? I mean, when you started off, Piss on Authority was the first record, right?
Yeah.
What was going on with that record? That to me, I wrote down Sex Pistols meets Gangrene when I heard straight up punk and unestablished in those tunes. What were you like? Did you write those songs with someone or did you write them alone?
I wrote a good portion of me and the bass player wrote them, and then we got a drummer, and we kind of crafted them into the songs. We had all the riffs and all the parts and the words for that record. I usually write, come up with the riffs and the lyrics, and then bring it to everyone, and we'll put it together. It's usually
So
how we do it.
you work it out in the practice space.
Yeah, the new record, me and Ryan, the guitar player, we'd go down because he had a computer. We could record demos and test stuff out. So we went down there and we wrote a good portion, pretty much almost all of that, minus a few songs. And then we
Where
brought it to
you got
the rest of the band.
where do you guys rehearse?
Right now we're rehearsing at our drummer's garage in East Bridgewater.
So you got your own private rehearsal space. That's cool. Let's go back for a minute here. What happened in, I wasn't around, so I'm not really familiar with your early days. What was going on with the band? Did you come out of the box hard or was it a slow build?
Um, we played a lot because we were 17, 18 years old. So we were playing a lot of VFW halls and we played basements and practice spaces. And then we started getting into playing clubs. We played the Midway and I think the All Asia were the first two places we played once we started to hit the city when we were old enough to play those places. Um, and then from there, we pretty much did the whole circuit.
Did you ever go out of town?
Yeah, I think we did our first, I think 2008 maybe, because we broke up for a couple of years. I think 2006 we were done. Then 2008 I kind of rebooted the band, and then we started going out of state and playing. Then
I listened to Never Seen, Never Could, four song single, Never Seen, excellent song, really good. That was when you came back.
yeah, that was the first record back. That was a whole new band that we had. I brought it was me and the last second guitar player for Worm at the time. We formed that band, did that record, and then half the band quit. So we went back. We got the original drummer back, and we continued back to our older sound from that record.
By that point, did you know any of the guys that you were into in the Boston scene, like Chris and Jerry's kids and those guys? Did you meet those guys early on?
By that time, I think I met Chris when they played the church. I want to say maybe 2010.
Right around
I
the
knew,
time your self-titled record came out.
um, yeah, probably a little around that time, maybe right after, right before. So yeah, and then I knew Cliff from the Freeze. We played down the Cape. He came to a couple shows
That's
down
cool. That
there.
must have been pretty exciting having Cliff there.
Yeah, and
He's a character, man. I love him.
then yeah, I met Chris probably in 2010. Started becoming friends with him when I booked them in 2018 which was one of the last shows he played guitar before his stroke. I booked him in the Dogmatics down the C note. Fucking sold the place out end of the summer. and then he had the stroke and around Halloween that year. And then
Yeah.
we opened up his benefit in January of 19 at the Paradise.
Oh, okay. I was not around, but I remember the Outlets and a few other bands played that day.
Yeah.
Now you said now I know you put the show together. We're going to talk about. Are you the booking agent at the C Note, or do they just give you nights to do shows there?
Um, I get I helped them out during COVID. Like I put a comp out. We raised about $1,000
That's right. I
to keep
remember
them
that.
open. Um, that's when I started hanging out with Chris. He had just moved back to Mass from Ohio. Yeah, so I put that out. So they pretty much any day I want, they'll take care of me because I helped them out. So I usually do maybe 4 or 5 shows a year at the C Note.
Nice. I've only been there once. I was there. It was a blues thing when I went. Actually, I was with, well, Punkify Blues. Caged Heat played there once, and I went with Caged Heat down there. But that was a while ago. But if I recall correctly, it's right on the ocean, pretty much, right?
Yeah, it's right across from the water, just like Sammy's patio was right across the water. Up on the North Shore and the South Shore, the C Note's right, same kind of setup.
Nice.
Good club, good sound, and then you have the whole strip of Nantasket, or what's left of it.
What's that place like in the winter?
It's a ghost town.
Kind of figured that. Do they still do shows down there in the winter?
Yeah, they'll do shows. I mean, they're only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sometimes they'll open up Sundays, or I can get them to open. There's like a big band coming through. They've been known to open up during the week. So
So you've been doing a lot for other bands and you've been banging around for a while and you've got, I think this is like technically your fourth full-length album, Slave
uh,
Driver?
five,
Fifth. So you've been at it,
5 and 22 years.
well, not, but you've been more serious though the last few years, I noticed, because you're
Yep.
getting out there. That's why you're here talking to me, man, because you're serious about what we do. And Chris is like a huge fan of you guys. He talks about you all the time whenever I talk to him. He's a big fan. Let's talk about the songs on the new record. What was your songwriting process this time for the new record?
It was mostly me and Ryan. We wrote a lot of it, a couple and then we bring it to Josh and Vinny, our bass and drummer, and we put it all together. Couple songs are leftover songs. One of the songs was one we started working on with Chris, Not Into Me. He kind of came up with the hook for that, and then I wrote the verses and stuff. We
So
put that together.
he has a co-writing credit on that one.
Correct. Yeah.
That's good. That's a selling point right there.
That's a Chris
I
story. He started the idea for that song.
Yeah, he mentioned that he was working with you a little bit. I mentioned "Life Is Short" because I think that might be my favorite song so far. Um, and
That's a funny story because I wrote that one. We went on tour. We toured like the eastern part of the states down through the Midwest, and we came back and it was right when the Russia and Ukraine thing started. So I wrote that. I'm like, and as the years have come by and where we are at now, it's getting closer and closer and looking like reality.
yeah,
Sadly.
you're leaning towards politics a little bit with some of your songwriting. Has that always been the case, or is that growing because of the climate that we're in right now?
Yeah, that's always been the case, like punk rock. I don't identify with any political party. I think they're all garbage. They're all against the people. I've always been that way and I always will. I mean, people can vote for whoever they want. I really don't believe any of it has to be determined by the people. It's all determined by the rich and ruling class. It's a divide and conquer technique
You're an
used to divide
anarchist,
pretty
right?
much.
I mean that in the kindest way, of course, Um, so you guys crafted most of these songs after you brought the idea into in this space. Where did you record? Because I don't know, I didn't see the recording credits anywhere. Where'd you record the record?
Galaxy Park Studios or Richard Ma.
The
We've
great
been
Richard
recording.
Marr.
We've been recording with him since we were 18 years old. So
Okay, I feel foolish now that I know that. Richard's a good friend of mine, but if you're going to do punk rock and you're going to do it right, Galaxy Park. What studio did you do the new one in Salem?
yeah, Salem was the last one. I think we did our first record when he was in Brighton. The self-titled record we did with him in Alston. I
The
missed the whole
Greenhouse.
Watertown days when he was in Watertown.
So you recorded at the Greenhouse?
Yes, we
Wow,
did
that's
a
legendary.
Piss on Authority at the Greenhouse.
Yeah, there's a big condo there now. The Greenhouse is long gone, unfortunately.
Well,
I spent a lot of time there. Several bands I've worked with have recorded with Richard, the Charms, Esperanos,
well,
Midnight Creeps when I we put
well.
a record out by them on Red Car. Yeah, Richard is like he's the best when it comes to like punk rock, I think. He moved up to New Hampshire.
Yep. I I talked to him a couple months ago. He was just starting a new studio. So I'm following him on Facebook with all the pictures and it's looking nice. It'll be his biggest studio yet.
Talk about your experiences of working with Richard. How you like working with him?
Oh, Richard's awesome. We just joke around, we have a good time, we get shit done. He tells me what sounds good and what doesn't. So
You guys have
I've
a good,
been
honest relationship in terms of what needs to be done with the sound.
yep. He knows he knows exactly the sound I like and I just let him do his thing.
Yeah, he's good. He's real good. You covered a Nine Inch Nails song.
Yep.
How'd that
Wish.
come about?
Uh Me and Ryan have always been fans of the Nine Inch Nails. He plays out in a industrial band out in LA. When he moved out there for he joined a band, so he's kind of met all those people, Paul Barker from Ministry and stuff. So
So is he the one that told you you want to do a Nine Inch Nails cover?
yeah, we did when he played with us in like 2005 before he moved to LA. He was our second guitar player because we started as the three piece and then we went to a four piece. So we always started playing that song, and then we kind of brought it back when he came back into the band. So I got the
Cool.
licensing for it, and we ended up recording that. So
Nice. Now, do you do a lot of covers when you play out?
no. Yeah, we'll play one or two a set. We mostly stick with our stuff. Like we've covered Gangrene, The Freeze, Darkbuster, all the bands we grew up listening to. We'll kind of throw a slice of that in the set.
I think it's great that you pay homage to all those guys, man, because the Boston punk scene, man, so many great bands have come from that scene. It's kind of what you're doing on August 29th.
Yep,
You got the show at the C Note. Reckless Records, is that you?
yep.
So you got your own like
Yeah,
promotion.
I put out a couple bands so far. So
Nice.
nothing on vinyl. Trying to get that's expensive. I'm trying to get that going though. That's what everyone wants. No one wants CDs anymore.
Yeah, it's weird because some record stores tell me that CDs are coming back, and then I like vinyl myself. And I was just hanging out with Curtis Casella from Tang Records, and he's just put out some eight tracks.
Yep.
Gangrene and Jerry's Kids on
Very
eight
good
track.
generation.
Did you get a copy of the eight track?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah,
I think Chris told me there was like 30 of them made. I'm like, oh, sweet.
I got one too, man. So on the show on the 29th, you got Unnatural Acts, Richie Parsons, who I'm sure you got to know through Chris. FUs, I used to work with the FUs, and great band. You got Spectacle, Paul Fox. You know
Yep.
Paul very well?
Yeah, I met him through Springer and Chris.
And Strikeout Boys. Who are the Strikeout Boys? I don't know much about them.
They were Jimmy and Kyle from the Hagglers. Jimmy
Oh,
was in the Marvels and Pug Uglies,
nice.
and then Kyle was from Moose Knuckle and the Hagglers. So they're open. They're This is their first show. They're brand new. They're opening up.
So in Worms on the bill, is that it? Is there five bands or is there more than five?
Just five.
Is that an all ages show?
No, it's 21.
And it's a nighttime show on August 29th. I don't have a calendar. I don't know what day of the week that is.
Friday
Uh,
night.
Friday?
Friday night. Yeah, Labor Day weekend.
That means it'll be
End of the
kind of,
end of the summer blaster.
yeah. So Hall will be hopping.
Oh,
Is there advance tickets for that show, or is it just tickets night of the show?
it's 15 advance tickets, 20 at the door. C note cnotehull.com for advance tickets, and then 7:30 for the doors, 21 plus.
Is it a late club?
Yeah, they'll let you play until 1 o'clock on the dot. So,
And I imagine Unnatural Axe is headlining. They playing last.
I haven't figured that out yet. Richie doesn't really want to play last,
Of
so
course he doesn't. I just saw Band 19 at the Dogmatics record release show. They were
oh, how was
great.
that?
They were great. All the bands were great that day.
There was like
Uh,
10 bands on that bill.
I'm sorry.
It was like 10 bands on that bill for the
Yeah,
Dogmatic release.
yeah. It was fantastic, and it was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which I liked, man. The old dudes like to go out early and get home at a reasonable hour. Um, well, that's great, man. That you're doing this show, and hopefully Chris will show up for it. I'm sure he'll figure out a way to get there.
Yeah, I
I
think Chris and Springer are coming out. Probably Curtis if he's still down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's still going to be in town, but he might be. Definitely. Um, do you go to a lot of shows still?
Yeah, yep.
Who have you seen lately?
Not as much as I used to, but I saw Mike McColgan and Rick Barton do the Dropkicks thing
How'd you
a
like
few
it?
weeks ago. Went for both nights. Awesome. I mean, that record as another record that got me into. I swear by that first Dropkicks record. Do or die.
Yeah, Rick pretty much wrote most of those tunes. Rick
Start to
Barton.
finish, that record. Awesome. So
Now
pumped.
since you brought up Rick, you said, I know you played Chris's benefit, which I think was 2018 or 19 at the Paradise. Did
Yep.
you get to see the outlets?
Yep. We saw the outlets. We opened up the show, and then I think it was Unnatural Axe, Dogmatics, Outlets, Springer and the Droogs, Slapshot Tree, Jerry's Kids, FUs. That was such an awesome night. Awesome bill. Everyone came out.
Yeah, I was in Pittsburgh, unfortunately, and I missed it, but I heard the outlets were incredible that day.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time they played in forever.
Yeah, they're quite a band. I'm glad you got to see them, man, because I never thought we'd still be seeing some of these bands all these years later, and they're still hanging on and they're still out there. Talk about a little bit about your relationship with Chris.
I started hanging out with Chris when I put the C Note comp out because I had his number and Dean's number from when I booked them, so I called them up. I'm like, oh, can I put a Gangrene song on the comp? You guys played an awesome sold out show here. We're trying to raise money. Chris was all about it, and he was staying in Attleboro, I think, at the time with his brother, or his sister. We started hanging out. He's like, oh, bring me to practice because he's recovering from his stroke. He can't really play, but he wants to be around, go to shows. So that's how we kind of bonded there through music and hanging out.
Yeah, and it was nice of you to take him up to the studio when we recorded a podcast with him around, I guess that was 2020 or
Was it?
2021, something like that.
Yeah, 21, I think.
Um, do you like listen to vinyl or do you stream or how do you listen to music?
I mean, I grew up on CDs. I got into vinyl. I have a record player, so I've been kind of buying more vinyl. And now I just started getting into streaming because I guess that's the only way to listen to music now.
Yeah, unless you're like I'm crazy with the records, man. I can't go into a record store anymore without walking out with a record. It's becoming a problem. It's like an
Oh,
addiction.
I totally agree. That's how I am with vinyl, and that's how I was with CDs. I'm starting to stream stuff because that's the only way to listen to it when you're driving now.
So if you had to name your all-time favorite punk bands, who would you say are like your top three?
Top three favorite punk bands? Ooh, that's a tough one. From where? What region?
I'll make it easy for you, Mike. Since you're a Boston guy and you're totally into the Boston bands, give me your top three Boston bands. Be careful though. You don't want to piss off any of your friends here, you know?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'll just say records.
Okay.
Top three Boston records, in my opinion, my favorite. Dropkicks Do or Die, Gangrene, Another Wasted Night, and Darkbuster, 22 songs you'll never hear again.
That's a good list. Definitely, man. Definitely a good list. Um, Another Case of Brutality became my favorite Gangrene record because I'm in the gang vocals on the record. I like to brag about that all the
That was
time.
that was that was the first Gangrene record I bought,
Yeah,
other than Boston, not LA.
yeah. Out on the couch to me
Out on
is
the
a
Couch was awesome. We
it,
covered that with Chris when he started coming up, and right before he put Gangrene back together, we started covering that song, and he'd come up and sing it. That's one of my favorite Gangrene songs.
yeah, me too, man. He knows that too. I mean, whenever he knows I love that song, we're at the Dean Jackson benefit. They played it, and I was with Curtis that day, and I'm like, they're doing Out on the Couch, and Curtis goes, yeah, he's playing it because you're here. That's what Curtis said. Because he knows I love that song and I've played it a lot on the show. Um, so August 29th, C Note, Hull Mass, Unnatural Axe, FUs, Spectacle, Strikeout Boys, and of course, Worm. Try and get out there and support that show with our friend Mike. Thanks a lot, dude, for taking the time to come on and talk.
Hey, thank you for having me, Steve.
My pleasure, man. And keep going, man. You're getting better and better, man, with each record, man. I'm digging it.
Hell yeah, appreciate it.
All
Thank
right,
you.
dude. Thanks.
All right, bye.